This is CBN News Watch.
And thanks very much for joining us for CBN News Watch. I'm Heather Sells. The race for the White House is up in the air, and it is not clear when we will have a winner. In several key battleground states, it is still too close to call. In one of them, Wisconsin, the president's campaign says it will ask for a recount. Mark Martin joins us now with more. Mark.
Yeah, Heather, President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden are battling for, among others, three familiar states: Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These races could be critical in determining if Trump is reelected or Biden wins the White House. The latest vote counts in Michigan and Wisconsin give Biden a small lead, but it's still too early to wrap up those races. And like we said, Trump's campaign manager says the president plans to immediately request a recount in Wisconsin. An apparent candidate coming up short can ask for one if the margin is less than 1%. In Pennsylvania, officials still need to count hundreds of thousands of votes. President Trump actually says he won the White House.
We're getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay?
I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election. It ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted.
The pandemic led to a spike in mail-in votes, so it's been known for months that it could take days for some states to count all the ballots. For example, the Las Vegas Review-Journal reports that Nevada won't release new vote totals until Thursday. And Heather, both candidates did not make it to the winning number of 270 Electoral College votes. Top advisors for both Trump and Biden had confident attitudes that their candidate had the better path to victory in the states that are too close to call. But both candidates and America, all they can do now is wait for the final counts and vote certifications. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Mark. Well, Alveda, both the left and the right are talking today about this year's Latino vote, and its growing numbers cannot be ignored by either party. Last night, it paid off for President Trump in Florida, and it could well make the difference in battleground states that we are still waiting on. One of the president's faith advisors, Pastor Sam Rodriguez, spoke with Pat Robertson about it last night.
The Hispanic community in America just emerged as the antidote to AOC's socialism, Bernie Sanders' socialism, the hard left socialism agenda. But it's not just socialism. Why did Latinos in Miami turn? It's not just socialism. It's late-term abortion. Latinos are the most pro-life community in America, according to Pew Research. So because this idea, this democratic obsession with abortion on demand, including late-term abortion, that's why Latinos gave Florida to President Trump. And we said no to the riots, no to socialism, no to late-term abortion, no to the riots, that's anarchy, and no to the perpetual lockdowns. You're going to see that this is the first day where the Republican Party, the conservative movement, just placed an engagement ring on the Latino community. We're not married yet, but it's the beginning of an interesting journey.
And that was Pastor Sam Rodriguez. Well, a new survey shows white voters of faith surged to the polls this election as they did in 2016, and apparently in greater numbers this time. That word from the Faith and Freedom Coalition, which also says that voters of faith provided the margin of victory in key U.S. Senate races. That, according to network exit polls and a post-election survey from Public Opinion Strategies, it found that self-identified white evangelicals comprised 27% of the electorate and that 81% voted for the president. Faith and Freedom's Ralph Reed says that they interacted with millions of voters to get out the evangelical vote.
I can tell you this right now, the conversations that we were having at the door and what percentage of these voters were telling us, these were millions of voters we were talking about. We're not talking about some poll where you interview 800 to 1,000 people. These were millions of conversations. And the level of these people who said they were going to vote for Donald Trump was earth-shattering.
The coalition credits a $45 million campaign for turning out these voters. Well, Michael Weir is a political faith strategist who previously led evangelical outreach for the Obama administration and 2012 campaign, and he joins us now with more on the evangelical vote. Michael, thanks for joining us after what I'm sure was a long night.
Yeah, great to be with you.
Thanks. You have followed the evangelical vote for years. At this point, what are you hearing about how many evangelicals voted and who they voted for?
So we're still waiting for numbers to come in. I think what's consistent is white evangelicals have held their percentage of the electorate. So what we're seeing so far is white evangelicals at about 27% of the electorate, which is what they were 4 years ago. And so that's significant. There were some expectations that there would be a drop there. We haven't seen that. On the national level, there is the AP VoteCast poll that you identified in the previous sort of montage. There's also the Emerson exit poll, which showed a significant increase among white evangelicals voting for the Democratic nominee over 2016. So the Emerson exit poll has 23% nationally voting for Joe Biden, almost a quarter. And then it's interesting when you look at the battleground states where things were really contested. Take, for instance, Michigan. In Michigan, we're seeing, depending on which exit poll you're looking at, depending on which, and again, these exit polls are not just election day, but also those who voted mail-in. We're seeing between a 22 and 31% vote among white evangelicals for Joe Biden, when Hillary Clinton won 14% in Michigan in 2016. That jump alone would account for what I expect to be a victory for Joe Biden in the state of Michigan. And we're seeing that in other states around the country.
Well, so fascinating. And of course, what I know you love to do is craft messages to these faith groups. Just briefly, what do you see as the strengths of both campaigns in speaking to people of faith this time?
Well, I think for President Trump's strength was his sort of steadfastness in appealing directly to evangelicals explicitly and making clear that he wanted their vote, that he needed their vote, and appealing on issues that have traditionally been issues of focus for white evangelicals. I think Joe Biden's strength was correcting a lot of the mistakes that we saw in 2016, which is Joe Biden also made a case, a proactive, positive case to evangelicals, invited them to support him, made direct appeals, laid out a policy agenda that resonated with evangelical values. And I think that's a big reason for the bump we're seeing, particularly in these battleground states.
All right. Well, we are out of time, but Michael Weir, thank you for your insights. Thank you for following this. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much.
Alveda King is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King and a supporter of the president. She joins us now with the latest on this election. And welcome to the show, Alveda. We, of course, are still in a waiting mode. What groups are you watching at this point in time?
Well, honestly, I'm praying. I'm still talking to evangelicals. We're praying together. And it's certainly very important. And Charlene, you and I have had this discussion before. In the midst of all of this, we want people to exercise our religious freedoms as well as our constitutional freedoms of being to speak out and protest, but to do it peacefully. So we were reminding people we needed to be dealing with the ballot, not bullets, ballot, not brawling, ballot, not burning things and flags. And so it's very important to keep focused on God at this time.
Yeah, I know a lot of us are really praying that this will be a peaceful time. I want to ask you, too, about in 2016, Donald Trump got just 8% of the black vote. What do we know about how well he has done with the African-American community this time around?
It seems as though that number is approaching double digits now. African-American men definitely voted for President Trump. And you have African-American women at a much smaller percentage supporting the president as well. And I think his platinum plan, his help to the historically black colleges and universities is important. Also for me, and this goes beyond a skin color situation. You know, we are one blood, one race anyway. And so if the baby's in the womb, so life, from the womb to the tomb, liberty, civil rights for everyone, and the pursuit of happiness without hurting others. He has addressed us in that manner. Some people, Charlene, don't like his tweets or say he doesn't smile enough, and all of that could be the case, but he is producing a level playing field for many people in America. And that is still very important. I don't like what they're doing, manipulating the votes and trying to steal the votes from him. I know firsthand that that is happening.
Yeah, let me ask you briefly about that. We're just about out of time, but you apparently saw some voter fraud.
I actually did. Someone very close to me went in to vote, and he was given the ballot, you know, the ballot information and all that, but he was not asked to sign anything. And so he says, don't I have to sign something? They said, oh, no, just go vote. If he had not insisted, gone to somebody else in that polling place and said, I need to show my ID, sign my name, his vote would not have counted. So we do have voter fraud, and anything is trying to keep votes from President Trump. Now, but the black folks did get out and vote this time. I'm so excited about that. I voted early.
Well, I think that's something everyone can agree on, is that we're all pleased that more people voted this time. We are out of time. Alveda King, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.